Okay, to practice for your test, what I want you to do is look at the problem that I'm asking you to do, pause the video, complete the problem, and then check to see if your answer is correct. If you just go and see the explanation, it's not going to help you as much, but it's your life. If I were you, I'd try to do the best on my quiz I could. All right, so the first one, the problem that I want you to do is write the percent as a decimal, and you are going to do this one, 34%. So you're going to write 34% as a decimal. So now you pause the video. Okay? Hopefully you tried to solve this problem. So 34% as a decimal. When you are going from a percent to a decimal, all you have to do is move the decimal place 2 to the left. So we have 34 here. So our decimal place would be right here. So you just simply move it 2 to the left. 1, 2. The new decimal goes there. And your answer is 0.34. Okay? The next two problems I want you to do is you're going to write the decimal. So you have the decimal right here. And write the decimal as a percent. I want you to do this one and this one. So we are going to take 0.67 and convert that to a percent, and we're also going to convert 0.685. Okay? Pause the video and try. All right. So when you are converting between a decimal and a percent, you just do the opposite. You move the decimal place 2 to the right. So for this one, right here, you'd go ahead and you go 1, 2. Your new decimal place goes there. So this would be 67%. We'll try it for the next one. 1, 2. Your percent would be 68.5%. Right, next problem. Okay, for this next problem, we are going to be comparing fractions and percents and decimal and percents, and we're going to see which one is bigger. Remember, when you solve these, you have to convert them both to the same unit in order to compare, and converting them to decimals is your easiest way to do that. So I want you to do both these problems, so figure out, you have 11/15 and 74%. You want to figure out which one is greater. And then you have 3% and 0.3. Pause the video. Okay, here we go. So we have 11/15 and 74%. I'm going to convert these both to decimals. So if we have a fraction, 11/15, in order to convert that to a decimal, we simply divide 11 divided by 15, and that gives you an answer of, and that equals 0.73. Okay, now you have 74%, and again, to convert that to a decimal, you simply move the decimal place 2 to the left. So I go 1, 2, so my decimal place goes right in front of the 7, and so that equals 0.74. And now when we compare, we go ahead and we just look at each number at a time. So if we look right here, we have these 7s, they're the same, so we can't tell which one's bigger. Then we go to our next one, which is our 3 and our 4. 4 is bigger than 3. So 74% is a bigger number. Okay, now we are going to compare 3% and 0.3. When you look at this, you might immediately be like, oh, they're equal. They're not. You got to follow the steps. So because this one is a decimal and this one is a percent, I'm going to, again, just convert them both to decimals because it's easier. So I have my 3%. In order to convert that to a decimal, I have to move my decimal place 2 to the left. So we have 1 and 2. And remember, if we have an empty space like that, we have to fill it with a 0. So 3% as a decimal is 0.03. 0.3 as a decimal is simply 0.3. Okay? Now we have to compare to see which one's bigger. So I look at my first number, and I have a 0 and a 3. Well, I know that 0 is smaller than 3, and 3 is bigger than 0. So I automatically know that this number is bigger. So 0.3 is the greatest number. Okay, this is your last review problem. We are going to go ahead and we are going to do the number 10. So we are putting these numbers in order from least to greatest. Now remember, you have to convert them all to the same unit. Okay? So I want you to go ahead, pause the video, and try on your own. Okay? We're going to convert all of these numbers. We have 42%. So we have 42%, 0.43, and 17/40. We're going to make these all decimals. So when we have 42%, in order to convert that to a decimal, we simply move it 2 places to the left. So we have our 42%, and I don't know why that's red. That one's black. Okay, so we have 42%. We move our decimal 2 to the left. So 1, 2. 42% as a decimal is 0.42. Okay? Now over here, we have 0.43. We don't have to do anything with that because that simply equals 0.43, or also known as 43 hundredths. So we'll leave that there. And then my last one that needs to be converted is 17/40. So we have 17 divided by 40, because to convert from a fraction to a decimal, you simply divide, and remember, you have to always divide down, so it's 17 divided by 40. 17 divided by 40. You start with this top number. Okay? So 17 divided by 40 is equal to 0.425. Okay? Now we need to compare them to put them in order. And we're putting them in order from least to greatest. So let's look at this first line of numbers. These are all 4s. So we cannot tell which one is bigger. Now we go to this next set of numbers. We have a 2, a 3, and a 2. Now we know that 3 is bigger than 2. So we know that that is our biggest number. So I'm going to go ahead and just write this as 0.43. Okay? Now if we look here, we go to our next row to compare. So we go to this next row to compare. There is nothing here. If you look right here, there is no number, which means it is 0. So then we can go ahead and we can compare again. We have a 0 and a 5. What's bigger, 0 or 5? A 5 is bigger, so that would be our next biggest number. So we have 0.425, and then the only thing that's left is 0.42. So that would be our smallest number. Now that we've done that, we want to just go ahead and write them out as they were originally. So 0.42, or 42 hundredths, you can see right here, was 42%. Okay? And then we have 0.43. If you look right here, well, that can simply be left as 0.43. And then we have our last one, which is 0.425, and 0.425 was originally written as 17/40. Okay, that's it. You're done. Now I want you to go ahead and do your test. Best of luck. You're super smart. You got this.